Good afternoon and Happy New Year's. It is now officially 2017. Hard to believe. Time is definitely flying as we speak. Right now, temperatures are in the 40s across most of the area. We do have a couple reporting stations coming in with low 50s around southern parts of western Kentucky. This would be including Logan County, Hopkins County, Christian County, all of those areas. They're all Warren County, starting to Simpson County, also coming in with those temperatures in the 50s right now. So I guess that's good news, but in other words, we do have some cool temperatures across other parts of the western Kentucky area. We do have temperatures mainly in the mid 40s. The further northwest you work, the colder those temperatures get. We do have some pretty deep cloud cover across most of the area. I'm assuming that we do have just a few reports of sunshine breaking out over parts of Nashville and up towards Bowling Green. That would probably be the reason why they're reporting slightly warmer temperatures. So if you don't like this cold weather, that's good news because we do have some very warm temperatures coming for us in just a little bit, less than 24 hours. So just hold on just a few more hours, and then we will be looking at those warmer temperatures coming in. They will be brief, and then we're going to be looking at bitter cold air staying with us much longer than this warmer air will be. Let's go ahead and go through this week. Right now, we are watching another resurge of moisture as another area of low pressure forms to our northwest. That's it. That's what is going to pull in that Gulf of Mexico moisture. But we have another area of low pressure that forms in parts of northern Mississippi, western Tennessee, western Kentucky. It might go right over my forecast counties. We'll just have to see how that goes out. But we do have moisture that's being pulled out from the Gulf of Mexico, and this is going to mean that we do have a low chance for severe weather at this time. Still going to monitor. We also have a good chance that we will be seeing some rainfall from because of the moisture being pulled up, and that rain is not going to be a whole. This is not going to be a deluge. We're not looking at several inches of rain. Some areas that see thunderstorms might see slightly higher amounts, but I'm thinking on average a tenth to 3/10 of an inch for the entire western Kentucky area, and we do have that risk of slightly higher totals where those areas that pick up thunderstorms, if we see some training going on, these storms will be moving from southwest to northeast, and it's going to mainly be light to moderate rain with some of those heavy pockets where those thunderstorms are. As we go through Wednesday, we're looking at another a cold front coming through, and it's going to have a lot of cold air behind it. If we see some rain showers form ahead of that cold front and it lags long enough for that cold air to overrun it, then we're looking at a threat for a few snowflakes on the very back side of those rain showers. There's a good chance we don't even see rain showers form. We will have some very dry air at the surface coming in right on the heels of that cold front. So if that dry air overruns that very shallow air layer of moisture, then we're going to be looking at that threat of rain showers diminishing. But if we see those rain showers evolve and we see cold air coming in a little quicker than normal, maybe 2, 3, 4 hours, which is not a lot in the weather world, then we could be looking at a couple snowflakes on the backside, not expecting any accumulation. The biggest threat with this cold front is going to be the cold air that is coming in behind it. Notice how we do have those thickness lines very close to each other. That is signaling that we have very cold Arctic air coming into our region, and this will be going out to this coming Thursday. We will run through temperatures here at the very end of this video as always, but I'm just showing you how cold we could be looking at as we get into the very end of this week. Once we get out to next weekend, there's a lot of questions. We do have southwesterly flow that will begin to kick in as we have that high pressure moving off to our east eventually, and then we have low pressure moving in from the north and west. Questions remaining where this low pressure tracks. If it tracks to our northwest, then there's a good chance that we see rain from that storm system. But notice how the model brings it all the way from Montana down to the southeastern parts of Colorado. And if that's the case, then our threats for snow or wintry precip start to increase for next weekend. But what the GFS model is not picking up on is we do have snow chances before next weekend. I will get to that here in just a second. I'm going to show you the Canadian model because I can't really show you this GFS model for it because GFS does not have any snowfall with it. But what the Canadian model does is the Canadian does have a very weak system, and the GFS is an outlier right now. All the other models are showing that we have a threat for some snowflakes on Thursday of this week. The GFS continues to show, it was showing a few days ago that we would have several inches of snow as a southern storm system, a very strong one, moved out from the southwestern United States and would blanket parts of the Ohio Valley and Tennessee Valley with some snow. It was even showing the mid-south for a time, but now it completely did away with that system. A lot of the times the models do this. There is not a lot of reporting stations out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean where the storm is currently. It is not on the United States coastline yet or on land. So, since it's not on our soil yet, where all of the reporting stations are, or at least majority of them, then it is not going to be able to tell the models where it's at. The models cannot depict where the storm is at if it has no reporting stations telling the models where it's at in the first place. So when there's no stations telling the model that, the model thinks, oh, the storm system's not even there anymore. So if it's not there then, the model assumes that it's not going to be there a week down the road when it would later be in the United States. So we're going to wait and see. Every time there's a snowstorm or something or a storm system, it comes through this certain part of the Pacific Ocean where you don't get a lot of reporting stations reporting that there is precipitation falling or that there is a storm system present, then the models will, for a very short period of time, completely do away with that system, and then a lot of times they'll end up coming back onto that idea. So we'll see how the models right now, all the other models, they did the exact same thing. They went from one night, I can't remember exactly what night it was, but I remember going to bed one night and looking at all the models, and they were all showing a pretty good wintry precipitation event somewhere in this area that I'm circling, and then the exact model run of all of those models, the next run, had nothing, and that was because of what the Pacific Ocean had to do with it. And I just explained how that worked to you. Now, all the other models are starting to emerge out of that little hole that they were hiding in for about a 24-hour to 36-hour time frame. All the other models are starting to come back onto the idea very slowly, but they are on the idea of snow for Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, somewhere in that time frame for this week. The only one that's not is the GFS, and that concerns me. The GFS has been doing pretty well lately, and if it continues to show this, then I'm going to start to have worries that we don't see any snow at all this week. So I'm going to watch this. The GFS has been very consistent on no snow for Thursday for the last couple of days. Here's the Canadian model. Notice how it has that little weak system moving in, but just a couple runs ago, let's see, last night's run, it was showing a really weak system also, and the GFS several models ago or several runs ago was showing that we would have snow. The Canadian model is showing that we still have that opportunity for snow as we go into Thursday of this week. Notice how it still has this other piece of low pressure hanging out in the desert southwest. There's questions that remain to where that goes also. Notice how the Canadian model, the 0Z, was showing that we do have a system here, but it wasn't as profound as it was several model runs ago. And then it went into the hole, and now it's starting to jump back onto the idea. And where this goes, this would be of Saturday. It looks like we're going to have two separate pieces coming through. One piece of energy coming through on Thursday, another piece of energy coming through sometime around next Friday night, Saturday time frame. And depending on where that one goes, depends on what our weather has. But I think we have a very good opportunity for snow if any precipitation forms, because the air is going to be so cold as we go into the end of this week and the middle of this week. Before we get there, we have to focus on the threat for possible severe weather tomorrow. Right now, the Storm Prediction Center has outlined us for a marginal risk for severe weather, and there's some of my forecast counties that are still just under a regular thunderstorm risk. That is an increase from where we were yesterday. So the Storm Prediction Center is trending towards more severe weather for our region, or at least a greater threat than they were a couple of days ago. So it's trending more towards severe weather, but a trend does not always mean that there's going to be severe weather, because a couple of days ago it wasn't looking like we could have hardly any severe weather, and now the odds are starting to increase. And so since it was once at zero and they're increasing now, it's still a very low number or a low chance for severe weather. So we're going to continue to monitor this as we go into the next couple of days. I'm going to move the screen around just a little bit to where you can get a whole picture of of what I'm about to show you, we're going to first look at what the radar is supposed to look like as we go into tonight and tomorrow. We do have that threat for severe weather tomorrow, and that is the only day. Right now, it looks like we might have a few isolated rain showers moving through tonight, and then the main weather story is going to turn our eyes on Monday when we begin to see those showers and thunderstorms increasing from southwest to northeast. This will be mainly on Monday afternoon and evening when we do have that threat or opportunity for severe weather. Notice how we do have mostly light to moderate rain with a couple of those heavier pockets in between, very isolated. But those are those areas where we see those thunderstorms form are going to be where we see those heaviest rain totals. And then it's starting to get to the very end of the time frame, but it shows that cold front with those light rain showers. Most odds are is that the rain showers are going to move out. If they form, they will move out before the air gets cold enough to turn it over to wintry precipitation. But there's still a very small window of opportunity, so we're going to have to monitor that. I will do a video update on the cold front if I have to, but right now it's looking like just maybe a couple of light rain showers, very cold air coming in behind it. Might see a couple of black ice patches on early Thursday or Wednesday morning after those rain showers move through Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. We might have a couple of icy bridges out there where those temperatures dip a couple degrees below freezing after it has left that layer of moisture on the roadways. Let's look at the total accumulated precip going into this event. I'm going to wait for this green bar to go ahead and load here. But as you can tell, it looks like an average of 1/10 to 3/10 of an inch of rainfall for the region. You notice how we do have those heavier pockets in areas where those thunderstorms form. You will have great variations from one county to the next when it comes to those rainfall totals. Let's look at the dew points during this event. Those are expected to be fairly high for the winter time of the year. During the winter time, we don't have to have as high dew points as we do during the springtime for severe weather because we're not supposed to have severe weather now. So if we do even have a hint at severe weather, the expectations to meet severe weather requirements are not as high. We're already getting into requirements for spring severe weather when it comes to dew points. So we are going to have very high dew points. There will be a lot of heavy air out there, a lot of very thick, muggy air as we go into Monday. It will feel like spring outside. Temperatures are going to pop into the 60s, but it is going to be very brief as temperatures go off the side of the cliff as we go into the rest of this week. Winds are not expected to be that high. I can still show you that. This is the dew points and the winds overlapping each other where you see these, where any of the bars that have more than one of these little tick marks on it, that's where we could be looking at heavier, or not heavier, but windier conditions. And as you can tell as we go into this event, it doesn't look like we're going to have very windy conditions. So also we do have to look at some CAPE values. CAPE is a measure of energy in the entire atmosphere, and storms need energy to work with. It's like their power plant for the power for the storm is the energy that it feeds off of, and so it needs that energy. And I'll show you the graph here, or the table, as we go into Monday afternoon. That's when our CAPE values are going to spike, but they barely even get into the lower hundreds according to the NAM guidance. So the CAPE values and the wind shear are two of the biggest ingredients for severe weather, and both of those look to be lacking tomorrow. So that is very good news, but all of these parameters could quickly change in a heartbeat. As we all know, the last couple of cold fronts that have come through, or the last couple of systems, have overachieved on the severe weather side. Both the third weekend and the last weekend, or the third and the fourth weekend, I want to say, of December, there was those systems that moved through, and they both overachieved with some severe weather. So we're going to have to watch it going into tomorrow. Looking at the next 7 days, we do have around 1 inch possible of rainfall in portions of south central Kentucky, according to the Weather Prediction Center, the model that they run. So still more rainfall adding to what was a drought, but now not looking as much one. As we go throughout this week, temperatures spike tomorrow, and as you can tell, they begin to dive as we go into the middle and end of this week, where high temperatures might not be making it out of the upper 20s to low 30s.